Welcome back. Why investing is your non-negotiable next step. Before we get into today's discussion, here's a quick overview of what we're about to explore. We'll start by connecting what you've already learned about saving with the bigger picture of why investing is the true engine of wealth. Then we'll dig into how inflation quietly drains your money, why investing multiplies it, and why psychological barriers keep so many people from taking the leap. After that, we'll walk step by step through the personal finance ladder, a clear path to getting started. And then we'll take a closer look at 401ks and Roth IRAs so you fully understand how they work. All of this builds on the previous part of this series, so it will feel like a natural progression. Let's begin right where we left off. You've already mastered conscious saving and opened a high-interest savings account. That's a solid foundation, but here's the truth. Saving alone is like filling a bathtub with the drain slightly open. You're putting water in, but some is always slipping away. The drain is inflation. Saving preserves money. Investing multiplies it. Saving helps you stay afloat, but investing is what actually moves you forward. This shift from working hard for your money to having your money work for you is the single most important step toward building real wealth. Think about how many people look at their slowly growing savings accounts and feel comfortable. On the surface, the balance is rising, but underneath, inflation is quietly eating away their purchasing power. Prices of everyday things, food, rent, healthcare, transportation, tend to creep up over time in the US, the UK, Europe, and most parts of the world. A grocery basket that costs $50 today might cost much more in the future. If your savings grow slower than those rising prices, your money is actually shrinking in what it can do for you. And that's why relying on saving alone creates a false sense of security. Now imagine this simple example. If you have $1,000 in a savings account, earning about 3% annually, after many years, you might see your money grow to roughly $2,427. Sounds okay, but when you factor in rising costs over those same years, you realize that your purchasing power is barely keeping up. You haven't moved ahead. You've only maintained your position. But now imagine taking that same $1,000 and investing it in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks that historically has returned an average of around 8% annually over long periods. Over time, that $1,000 could grow to over $10,000. That difference, barely keeping pace versus multiplying your money, is exactly why investing matters. It's the power of compounding. You earn returns not only on your initial investment, but on the returns that have already accumulated. It starts small, but over time, it snowballs into something life-changing. And that's why starting now, even with small amounts, is far more powerful than waiting for the perfect moment. Every month you delay is a month of missed compounding. This brings us to the next point, the psychological barriers that so many people face when thinking about investing. Even though the math is clear, millions still hesitate. One common belief is, I don't earn enough to invest. That's an understandable feeling, especially when life already feels expensive. But investing never required large sums to begin. You can start with small contributions, even something like $50 a month. The real magic comes from consistency, not the size of the first dollar. Another fear is losing money. Markets move up and down. That can feel scary, especially when you're new to investing. But what many people overlook is the guaranteed loss they experience by not investing, because inflation continues regardless. Inaction has a cost. Over long periods, diversified investments have historically recovered from downturns, but cash sitting idle never does. Then there's the feeling of overwhelm. People worry they need to pick individual stocks or predict market trends, which feels intimidating. Luckily, long-term investing today is easier than ever thanks to diversified funds that spread your money across many companies automatically. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to start. It's also fascinating how people behave during market fluctuations. When everyday items go on sale, everyone rushes to buy them. But when stocks drop, essentially going on sale, many people panic and run the other way. This emotional reaction is natural, but not helpful. For long-term investors, downturns are opportunities, not disasters. A lot of people also crave a sense of control. They feel they need to time the market or choose perfect investments. But trying to outsmart the market often leads to worse results. Slow, steady, diversified investing usually wins. Modern tools, apps, and robo-advisor platforms across the US, UK, and Europe have made this even easier. And one last psychological barrier is learned helplessness. People sometimes convince themselves that today's economy makes investing impossible, or that previous generations had it easier. While every generation faces challenges, small, consistent steps still work. The biggest obstacle is often mindset, not money. Now that we've addressed the why, let's walk the next step of the journey, the personal finance ladder. This ladder has 6 rungs, and each one builds on the previous one. Don't worry about racing to the top. Just focus on climbing one step at a time. The first rung is to grab your employer's 401k match if offered. Employer matching is essentially free money. If your employer matches part of your contributions, every dollar you put in is instantly doubled up to a certain amount. Imagine earning a guaranteed 100% return the moment you invest. That's why you always start here. If your employer offers this in the US or pension contribution matching in places like the UK or Europe, make sure you take advantage. Once you've secured your match, you move to the second rung, paying off high-interest debt. Credit card interest can climb into double digits, sometimes far more. Paying it off gives you a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate you're no longer paying. No investment consistently beats that. Clearing that debt also frees up your mental energy and future income. The third rung is opening and funding a Roth IRA. This account lets your investments grow tax-free, and withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free. You contribute after-tax money, but the long-term benefit is enormous. It's especially powerful for younger beginners because it gives decades of tax-free growth. Once your Roth IRA is funded, you move up to the fourth rung, increasing your 401k contributions beyond the match. This step maximizes your tax benefits and grows your retirement savings faster. Contributing pre-tax dollars means you pay less in taxes now while building a future nest egg. The fifth rung is exploring health savings accounts, or HSAs, if you're eligible. These accounts offer a rare triple tax advantage. Contributions are tax-favored, growth is tax-free, and withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. Since medical costs exist everywhere, from the US to Europe, this tool can be especially powerful for long-term planning when available. Finally, the sixth rung is opening a taxable investment account once you've completed the previous steps. These accounts don't have the same tax perks, but they offer flexibility. You can invest in many different types of assets and withdraw your money whenever you need it. At this stage, you can also choose to invest in yourself, skills, education, or even a business, all of which can multiply your earning potential. With the latter covered, let's take a closer look at the cornerstone of many people's retirement planning, the 401k. This employer-sponsored plan allows you to invest a portion of your paycheck automatically. Because the money goes in before it ever hits your bank account, saving becomes effortless. You hardly notice the difference in your take-home pay, but your future self will. A 401k has powerful benefits. Contributing pre-tax money means you're investing more than you could with after-tax dollars. Many employers offer matching contributions, which accelerates your growth. And everything inside your 401k grows tax-deferred until retirement, giving your investments decades to compound. Some people worry about needing the money early. While early withdrawals come with penalties, exceptions exist for certain hardships. These should always be a last resort. The real focus should be on building your future security. Many employers also offer a Roth 401k, which lets you contribute after-tax money now in exchange for tax-free withdrawals later. This is great if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket in the future. And if you ever change jobs, your 401k stays with you. You can leave it, move it to a new employer's plan, or roll it into an IRA. Just avoid cashing it out early. Penalties and taxes make that option costly. Finally, let's explore the beauty of the Roth IRA. This account gives you full control over where you invest and offers one of the most attractive benefits in personal finance: completely tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals in retirement. You contribute after-tax dollars, let your investments grow, and eventually enjoy withdrawals without worrying about taxes. That's powerful, especially when your investments grow significantly over decades. In a regular account, you would owe taxes on those gains. In a Roth IRA, you keep every bit of that growth. And that brings us to the end of today's discussion. Let's quickly review the key points one by one. We covered why investing is essential for building wealth, how inflation erodes savings, and how compounding transforms small amounts into large ones. We discussed the psychological barriers that stop people from investing, and then walked through the personal finance ladder, from capturing employer matches, paying off high-interest debt, and funding a Roth IRA, to maximizing 401ks, exploring HSAs, and finally opening taxable accounts. We wrapped up with a closer look at how 401ks and Roth IRAs work and why they are foundational tools for long-term financial security. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and support the channel so we can continue creating more educational content to help you build a confident financial future. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next part of this series.